Welcome back, folks. Today, let's take a look at, I guess I'll do a restoration blog on the 62 Valiant Wagon. So I bought this car a few years ago. It's a running and driving 62 Valiant station wagon. And I found out that after I bought it, we had a smoky engine. Pretty bad rings. So, figured I'd do a little bit of rebuild and restoration. So while the engine is out, I kind of snowballed a little bit of this and got a lot of things taken care of that would have eventually needed taken care of anyway. You could see that the K-frame's out. When I did this, I dropped the engine out from the bottom because I have the lift here, sort of like they would have done at the factory for Hamtramck or Los Angeles or St. Louis back in the old days when these cars came down the line. You know, they put the engines in up from the bottom, so I did it that way. I'm going to keep this car small bolt pattern. I'm going to keep the left-hand factory threaded left-hand lug studs on the left side of the car just to keep it somewhat original. And I'm upgrading the brakes, so I'll lift it up here in a second and show you. But I put a 8 3/4 with the factory drums in the back, and basically 67 to 72 4-piston discs up front. They're all rebuilt, ready to go. They're over here, hiding out under my dust protector. So it won't be amazing stopping power. I don't plan to like autocross this car, but I do plan to mountain drive it and just have a nice cruiser. So all the engine is redone. I'm still getting some parts sorted out for it. Before I bought this vehicle, somebody had gone in and put some headers on it, some Clifford headers, and they put a 4-barrel, small Holley 4-barrel on there. I'm going to keep all that stuff. I'm going to redo the exhaust. This particular car for 62 is a little bit odd because it's got factory power steering. So I went through and rebuilt the TRW Thompson pump there. That's all ready to go. And I'm remaking the exhaust for this car. When this car was purchased from the previous owner, they had a muffler shop build a set of dual exhausts for it, which is nice and which is fun. But on these inlines, the better way to go is to have your duals come together into a single 2.5-inch pipe about 18 inches behind the cross member. And that's what I'm doing. So once I get the engine block back in the car, I can finish up the exhaust work, but I have it halfway done. I'll show you that in a second when I lift it up. This car has a pretty nice original interior. You know, this is a V200 station wagon, so it's not the lowest model. It's not a Signet either. I don't know if they made Signet station wagons in 62. They very well might have. I'm just not sure. Yeah, if you know for sure, let me know. But I've got the radio out, so I put a block-off plate in there for now. And I'm going to get the radio redone with an FM conversion on it so it looks original. But, you know, this is the original interior. And you could tell because if you get reproduction seat covers, generally they don't have the embossed logo for the Valiant in there. And you can see this has got it on the front and back. It might not be real easy to see with the light in here, but it's there. So the seats coverings are all original. Somebody has already replaced the carpet. The door panels are original. The The headliner's original. Might not be able to see it very well in the light here. So there's a lot of nice original parts on this car, and I've been cleaning up things like as I go. I've got to get some door handles redone. I've got a few of them redone. I just have to get the other two. And when I pull off something, like I've already buffed the stainless on some of the door frames, I buffed some of this, but then there's other parts that I haven't gotten to take off yet. The previous owner had this car repainted, and they did an okay job. It wasn't fantastic. They just kind of cut in everywhere, and they painted over all the original galvanized door strikers and door latches and whatnot. I got rid of all that stuff, at least on the left side. I haven't done the right side yet. The owner had some 64 or 62 Polara hubcaps, these ones up here with the spinners. I didn't like that look because those are Dodge hubcaps anyway, so I took those off and I went back to the UFO dog dishes there. I like that look much better on a car like this. I've done a few other things to it, but this winter just kind of went around and really took more time to redo a lot of the mechanical parts. So the 9-inch brakes are gone. It's going to have a dual circuit master cylinder like a 69 Dart would, with discs up front and drums in the rear. And I went through and detailed a lot of the little cadmium plating parts. They're supposed to be cadmium plated, but I don't have a cadmium plating system now, so I just cleaned them and painted them metallic silver and kind of cleaned up all these little bits in here. I redid the heater box last year because the heater core started leaking on me, and you can't go to a Rock Auto, you can't go to your local auto parts store in Napa and get a heater core for one of these. So I've got a really great local radiator shop, and took my core and had them reproduce 2 new ones of those for me. So your options there are have a shop make them, or find an NOS one if your heater core happens to go bad on one of these cars. So I've done a little bit of cleaning under here, done a little bit of rework with the wiring. I got some new lenses for the turn signals and indicators there, got those all figured out. So let's take a look at the exhaust here. Got rebuilt upper control arms already on there, ready to go. I got to throw some shock absorbers on. The K-frame's all detailed. All that stuff's ready to go. So believe it or not, this actually is a Pennsylvania car. There's a substantial amount of structural rigidity under here. I believe the car would have been rusted in the quarter panels and whatnot, and that's all been somewhat repaired. And the bottoms of the fenders, that's all been taken care of. So it's not perfect under here. It will be a driver, but I put an 8 3/4 in it out of an A body, and I'm working on the exhaust here. So all stainless, TIG welded, back purged, all the typical good stuff that you would want a professional to do. And we'll see how it turns out. I might have to add a resonator in back here. For right now, it's just all kind of mocked up until I build the front half. And you can see my intermediate pipe. I've got my merge collector there, so it's going to go 2 inch into a single 2.5. And once I get the engine all done, I can put it on the K-frame and bring it up in here, and then start to make my front pipes from the headers on back. Let's see what else. I made a frame hitch for it. A little bit of welding there. You know, you can't go no catalog and buy a regular old hitch for one of these. So I made one up, and this will be able to tow my trailer for whatever, going to swap meets or just taking extra stuff camping or something like that. Because these are small station wagons. You're not going to fit a lot in there. And it doesn't have a roof rack. So I can't put anything on the roof of it right now. Maybe eventually I'll find one. I know they were available. I just don't have one for this car. Yeah, so if you ever work on these old Mopars pre-1970, watch out on the left side here. From the factory, these have left hand threaded on the left side wheel studs and wheel nuts. A lot of times you'll find 2 or 3 of them broken because, you know, you'll have a mechanic or a tech that didn't have any idea, and they just keep jamming on them with the impact wrench, and they just break them off. And then they replace them with a right-handed one because the left-handed ones aren't readily available. So I've got all left-handed ones there, and I've got all left-handed ones on my drum brake down there. So again, this isn't a perfect car. The paint kind of looks nice from 20 feet, but it's not beautiful. But it's just a fun little car to have, and with better braking and better Slant 6 performance, that's always good stuff too. It's not completely done. I'm still waiting on some parts for the head, but most of the short block is all done. Crank and cam is in. I've degreed it, put the front cover on, got the balancer all set up, and I'm putting on some of the right side parts here. By the way, if you're in Australia and you're a fan of the R&S series Valiants, good day to you. And if you're in Argentina, South America, and you're a fan of the Valiants, buenos dias to our Southern American friends that might like Slant 6s and 60 through 62 Mopars. So anyway, I got the block all done. Just stock replacement pistons on stock rods. So this isn't an all-out performance build. It's just kind of a mild cruiser, 60 thousandths over. And these are all about 200 thousandths down in the hole. So with my head that I have, the heads, I CC'd the head a week or 2 ago. It's this particular one ended up being 42.5 cc's, which with the pistons down where they are on this particular block. And the machine shop did do a cleanup pass on there. They took a little bit off. You know, there used to be stampings over here. It told me 225 and some other information on that pad. And that's all gone. So I didn't get an actual measurement from them as to how much they took off. But it'll bump the compression up. It'll be 9 1/4, somewhere in that range. And that'll be good for the cam that I'm using. I'm not using a stock cam. So I'm putting a more road race performance oriented cam in there. That'll be taking it right up to about 5,600 RPMs for shift point. This car is a 3 on the tree. I didn't really show you that because the transmission's not in the car, and the steering column and stuff is not sorted out right now. But eventually I'd like to put a 5-speed in it, but I'm not going to do that this particular time around. I'll get to that some other time. So if we look at the bottom of this, you know, the oil pan on here is what looks like stock, but it's not really stock. Oh, let me see if I can get this to flip over here. Alright, just want to try to get it to flip over without going too crazy. So this is the oil pan, of course. You all know that. And what looks like a stock oil pan. I did not change the capacity of it. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll put a little kick out on this side. Sorry, it's upside down. I'll put a little kick out on this side for a little more volume here, for road racing and so forth, just to keep the pickup covered up when you're really cornering hard. I didn't do that on this pan, and I did not lower the sump. Sometimes I'll cut these out and lower them about an inch or so to put more volume in there. So this is still essentially the bare guts of a 5-quart pan, but what I did was I baffled it quite a bit. I've also got a scraper in there. So there's baffles here and baffles in the front, and also baffles on the sides, so that when you're cornering, stopping, or accelerating, that especially on the back side, there's not oil sloshing back. So it's not anything crazy, but any bit that you could do to sort of help oil control on these is helpful, and it'll just make it safer for the mechanical part of it with your oil pressure when you're driving. Now, if you drive like, you know, grandma going to church or going to get groceries, you're going to be fine. You don't need to do any of that with your Slant 6. But if you drive like me and some of my friends do, where we actually, you know, really push the cars around corners, and we get right on that adhesion limit sometimes, and we might even take it to a track day or an autocross. But those things, it's like, while you have it apart, you might as well just do your due diligence and get that stuff all figured out. So that's pretty much it here. So probably the next time I do a video on this car, I should have it running and driving with everything built. But that's the update on the '62 Valiant station wagon restoration. Have a great day, folks.